Hi, it's Steve from PartSelect. Today we're going to show you how to change the thermostat on your dryer, and it's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver, as well as a Stubby Phillips screwdriver, and a pair of needle nose pliers. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, because we will be working near some electrical circuits, we'll want to disconnect the power. So if it's a plug-in style dryer, simply pull the plug, and if it's a hardwired dryer, you'll need to locate your electrical panel and disconnect the power at that source. Now next we'll open the dryer door, and we're going to remove two Phillips screws that go up through the top of the front panel into the main top. Now next we'll lift up the front of that main top and just kind of pull it forward while rotating it to disengage it from the back panel. There are three slotted openings in that top panel that engage three tabs on the console, and as well the bottom of the top panel has to hook under that support brace at the back. So we'll set that aside. Now next we're going to remove two Phillips screws that secure the front panel to the cabinet, and they're located just inside near the top. Now we'll carefully tilt that front panel towards us while lifting up on the drum, and then we'll lift up on the whole front panel assembly to disengage it from two mounting tabs at the bottom. Now next we'll need to disconnect the wire harness to the door switch assembly, so very carefully pivot the front panel around, locate the assembly, and then with our needle nose pliers we can remove two wires that are going to that switch. Now with the wire harness disconnected, we can take the front panel assembly and set that aside. And next we're going to need to loosen the belt by removing it from the idler, which is located on the right rear side. So we're going to reach in through this opening so we locate that idler wheel and the belt. We'll just push the idler wheel towards the center enough that we can release the tension on that belt, and then we'll roll it off. And once we've got that belt free, we're next going to pull that drum forward and disengage the bearing at the rear. So make sure that it fits out through the opening in the cabinet, and just while lifting, pull forward. And then we can set the drum aside. Now with the drum removed, we have access to the thermostat. So the first thing we should do is pull the wire terminals off of the thermostat. So take our needle nose pliers and just gently pull those off of the terminals. And once we've removed all of those wires, just carefully inspect them to make sure there's no signs of any arcing or overheating or corrosion. And if there is, you will need to replace those wire terminals. Now next, with the Stubby Phillips screwdriver, we'll remove that single screw, and we can lift the old thermostat out of the opening and discard it. We'll set the new one into position, replace the screw, and then replace all of the wires to the proper terminals. Two of these wires will have a larger terminal on them, and two will be smaller variety, so you can't mix them up. And lastly, make sure that all of those terminals are snug on the thermostat, and if not, take the needle nose pliers and just give them a little bit of a crimp just to make sure they're nice and tight. Now while we have that drum out, it's a good time to take your vacuum cleaner, clean any excess lint that may be accumulated in the base of the dryer, and once you've done that, we'll reassemble it. Now when reassembling the dryer drum and belt into the cabinet, well, first of all, I'll need to make sure that we've cleaned up all of the excess lint in there, and we'll show you how to put that belt around the idler and motor pulley so that you can do that without being able to see it. And as well, we'll also check the rear bearing on the drum make sure that's in good shape, and if not, it should be replaced at this time. And as well, we'll vacuum any of the lint that's inside of the openings at the rear of the drum. Once we've done all that, we'll drape the belt around the drum with the grooved side of the belt against the drum. Now, when reassembling the drum and belt into the dryer cabinet, we'll want to first of all make sure that we understand how the belt goes around the drum and around the idler pulley and the motor pulley. Grooved side of the belt goes against the motor pulley and the drum, and the flat side will go against the idler pulley. And we'll show you in detail how that actually works. Now, when reinstalling the drum and belt, we'll need to rotate this belt around the idler pulley and the motor pulley, and it's a little difficult to see what's going on there, so we're going to attempt to show you with the drum removed. Now, the belt has a grooved or ribbed side as well as a flat side. Now, the flat side will rub up against the idler pulley, while the grooved side will lay against the dryer drum and against the grooved motor pulley. So when we drape the belt around the drum, it's going to hang pretty much like this. So we're going to have it come over top of the idler pulley, pull down in around the motor pulley, and then around the drum like that. So to do that, you will need to pull that idler arm and pulley over far enough so that you can rotate the belt onto it and around the motor pulley. So pull it across like that, lay the belt over the idler pulley, drape it around the motor pulley, and then release the idler arm and it will hold it in place. Install the drum. It's a fairly tight fit into the opening here. There are some cutout portions for it to fit through, but it's still fairly snug, so you'll have to push the cabinet just enough to allow that to fit without damaging the cabinet. Once we've got it part way back, we can drape the belt around the drum. And then just use that as a lifting device. We can line up the rear bearing on that drum with the opening in the rear housing. Then we'll position the belt roughly where it needs to be, and you'll see some belt marks on the outside of the drum where it was riding before. And then again, we're going to have to reach in through the left-hand side. We're going to push that idler pulley and bracket towards the center of the drum. Now next, we're going to reach in again on the left-hand side, and we're going to push that idler pulley and bracket towards the center of the cabinet. And we're going to lay the belt coming from the right across the top of that idler pulley. Flat side against the idler pulley. We're going to push that pulley towards the center. Take some of the tension off it. And then we'll rotate the groove side of the belt around the motor pulley. And then we're going to just lift up on that drum and we're going to rotate it counterclockwise. We should see the blower wheel turning freely. And we'll rotate that enough till the belt centers itself on the drum. And now we're ready to put the front panel back on. Now before we reinstall that front panel, well, first of all, I want to vacuum any of the excess lint that's in that opening, and then we're going to reconnect the wire harness to the door switch. So using our needle nose pliers, I'm going to reach in, line those terminals up. And make sure they fit snugly on the switch. Reconnect the inline connector. At this point, we're going to rotate that front panel into position. The careful not to dislodge those wire terminals. And then we'll line up the slotted openings on the bottom with the tabs that protrude off of the mounting brackets. We'll tilt the panel into the dryer while we're lift up in the drum so that it clears the front bearing. Hold that in position. Then we'll install the 2 Phillips screws. Now we'll install the top panel, and again we need to locate these 3 openings, the 3 tabs on the back guard, as well as we need to tuck the lip of that top panel under both sides of that. So it's a little bit of a trick to do that. Make sure we have a nice tight seam along the back and that it's hooked on both sides. And then we'll replace the 2 screws inside the door opening. Now when installing the 2 screws for the top panel, we need to make sure that they go straight up through the opening and that they engage the screw hole in the main top. And then we tighten them securely so we don't have any squeaks. And now we're ready to reconnect the power, and your repair is complete. I told you it was an easy job. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your repair.